Hey, y'all. Want to thank you for joining me in Pursuit of Signal. My name is Jose Angel Castro, and I am your host facilitator in this deep dive into the social impacts of technology on our lives today. And I'm super excited because I have a really great guest today. We met just a few weeks ago, but we were talking about this in the car earlier, being like-minded, but to me, it goes a little bit further in being kindred. When you start to talk to somebody and you feel a connection that tells you that you speak the same language. So I'm so excited that you're here. With me today is Ariella Shanti Laden. Really have the impulse to call her Shanti because I really dig that name. And she is a psycho-spiritual life coach. I don't know that that begs so much explanation because it's in the title. It's literally in the title, psycho-spiritual life coach. And I think that is an amazing title to begin with. But I want Shanti to tell us, welcome.
I love that you're calling me Shanti.
It just happened. It just happened again, just because that's what my brain does, you know?
I have one other person in my life that calls me just Shanti.
Oh, is that?
She's like, Shanti, I miss you. Well, I don't know for any of the listeners, Shanti means peace in Sanskrit.
Oh,
did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
I did not.
It's actually my middle name. And it took me a while to embrace it, the meaning of it, but now I'm fully on board.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my middle name is Angel. Angel.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, as a kid, to have the name Angel was challenging. On the playground, it was challenging. But yeah, now I'm fully in it. So like you, I love that.
I love it too.
So describe for the people what it is you do.
Yeah. Whenever anyone asks me what I do, it's like this ever-evolving thing. I don't have a spiel that I've memorized because it is constantly evolving. Psycho-spiritual, when I was explaining it to somebody one night at a bar, I was like, my background is in psychology, meaning academically, it's what I've been studying. It's different modalities that I've practiced. But my foreground is in spirituality.
I love that so much.
It's like it's the context of it's what's always kind of at the surface for me. And it's how like I interact with my life, and it's what I want to bring mostly into my practice. So I work one-on-one with clients that are going through transition periods in their lives. Right now, 80% of my clients are going through career changes. So at this point, like I work a lot with that. But I also work with people in relationship counseling. I'm working in small groups. I'm evolving into what I'm doing, but
Right.
It's the common thread is you're going through some transition. Maybe you're able to pinpoint it, or maybe it's like really like just this pervasive feeling that like it's like discomfort. You don't know, but you want to explore something.
Yeah, sort of the edges of the lines are elusive. I mean, I personally think everything is in the transition. It's being conscious in the transition. I think that makes the real difference as to how you land in the next place, right? And everything is transition because we're always changing. Everything is ever changing. Everything is fluid all the time, right? But if we can be conscious in the transitions, I think that's where the magic happens. That's where the real learning happens. Because basically in transition, oftentimes we're kind of on fire, right? There's so much going on that it's challenging to look around in that space.
You know what I love so much about speaking to you? And this happened, we should tell everyone that in the car ride over here, we were just like, well, we should have filmed this whole thing.
It was really good. It was really good.
It's the consciousness in the transitions. And the thought that I just had was how many people rush from place to place?
All the time.
Right? And it's just like this destination to that destination. Like so much of your life is in transition. So much of your life is going from place to place. I mean, you could take that as literal or metaphoric as you want, but like what happens when you're unconscious in the transitions, or you're unconscious in a lot of your life.
Yeah. Now, see, we got some shit to talk about. This shit is going to go deep. So I hope y'all are ready for this. So inspired by my Shanti. Interesting about those places, because if we kind of do the macro of basically the entire fucking world right now, it's in transition. During the pandemic, one of the ways that I kept my sanity during the pandemic. The quiet was really good for me during the pandemic. But one of the things that kept me from losing it, because when you look around the world, there's so many things that feel like they're falling apart, or so many people are falling apart in this quiet. I decided what I wanted to do was plant milkweed in my garden and attract the butterflies, just as kind of a meditation, right? I'm a photographer, media specialist, so naturally I started photographing and videotaping everything that I saw. And I actually captured the life cycle of a monarch butterfly from beginning to end, even from the time that the caterpillar emerges from the egg. And I became super fascinated with what happens inside the chrysalis, which is a perfect metaphor for transition.
That you can't have a more perfect one.
Because that creature is going from one state to another, essentially through disintegration.
Just come death. Yeah.
Yeah. And all change, and I use this word in a very specific way, all change is violent in one way or another, and meaning it pulls things apart and reassembles them, just as what happens to the caterpillar. The caterpillar, which has 18 legs, comes out as a butterfly with frickin' wings, as a completely different thing made up of the same DNA, but as a completely different creature. And I think that we as human beings are in that same, we're inside the chrysalis now. And I actually think, and this is my opinion, and I say this all the time about this show and on this show, I'm going to do my best to tell you when I'm giving you my opinion on something. This is my opinion. I think we've only just gotten into the chrysalis. It's only just formed, which means we got a hell of a long way to go to come out on the other side. But it's conversations like this with people like you, I think, that are super important to being conscious in the transition. That makes sense? Or am I just talking to my ass?
It makes so much sense. And like, I don't know if you see like how I'm staring at you in wonder, because it's like so much is arising from this conversation. And it just like reminds me of what we were saying in the car about the intelligence. We were talking about these trees, the banyan trees,
Mhm.
and you were saying how like, the hammock, like when it absorbs this tree, like does it grieve, and it just kind of reabsorbs back in, and it's cyclical. And it's just like the intelligence that is already here of like pushing in the chrysalis, like, right? Like the intelligence already exists. It's just, you just have to surrender to it. But like all we're doing is it's fighting. And I mean, I know I spend a lot of time fighting, even though I know, like I even
Yeah.
have the awareness as going experientially myself, going through these stages, but
Yep.
also someone who studies a lot of transformation work. Like I'm aware of it, but still it is just like our route nature, the survival instinct
Yeah.
is just like to fight. And
Yeah.
so much of what I'm working with myself and with others is just the deepest level of surrender and trust. And you don't even know how good it's going to be. Like, does the caterpillar even know how good it's going to be? How beautiful.
Yeah. It's super interesting that you say that, because that was one of the things that I contemplated in this study of this one little cycle, this one little system of life that I think reflects the rest. That's going microcosmic in watching this thing happen, that reflects the macrocosmic. And like you're saying, we each individually go through these transitions all the time. And I'm sure we each individually are experiencing these transitions right now, because things are unsure, things are transitional, things are transient in a way right now for everybody, unless you're a person who happens to live off in the forest somewhere with no contact with the outside world.
And they're going through their own different, like it just contextually, it's different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know, I don't want to, I think it's kind of on topics, but I don't want to pull you off so much. But when you started to introduce this and you said during COVID, I planted milk thistle so that I could see this, like, because you knew it would attract the butterflies.
Right.
there was like almost like I almost like cried a little. I don't know if you saw that. That I needed to hear that right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a testament to God, patience, but not even that. It's like, I know that I want to watch the cycle of this. So I'm going to literally plant this seed.
Yeah.
And like, let's talk about the seed as the metaphor for everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to find a soulmate. So I am working deeply on myself, this seed within myself, because I know that it's a few steps ahead. Like if you wanted to just watch butterflies, like and you wanted to get there quickly, you could go to Butterfly Garden. Does that still exist?
Yeah.
Butterfly.
Oh yeah.
When I was a
Oh
kid,
yeah.
I came down to Miami all the time.
Yeah. At Fairchild. Yeah, we have a
Yeah, but
beautiful one.
you wanted the cycle, the full cycle, and you're like, and I want this in my backyard, and I want to study it. So like, I don't know how long it took for milk thistle to, from the planting stage to when it was, fully. I don't know if it was a seed or you planted it. It still is a testament to like the deep desire for that end goal and what you had to do to it was part of the process too.
Yeah.
It didn't just
Absolutely.
start with the chrysalis, like it started with the planting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
just,
I hadn't really considered that, but yeah, and as you say this to me, I realized that the intention of planting the milkweed was to welcome the process.
that's the word, the intention of it. Yeah.
Yeah, was to welcome the process. And the bigger process at that time was to welcome the process of being quiet that was forced on me by the pandemic.
So good.
Welcoming the ability to be quiet in that way when you had no other choice. Because when I think back to that process, I was quite conscious of the fact that shit was going to get out of hand with the pandemic and everybody's going to be going nuts. How do I keep myself from going nuts?
Yeah.
And this was one of the ways that I was able to do that.
It's a tool. I mean, so with my clients, we are creating toolkits all the time. And,
Right.
and toolkits are different for different people because you have different styles of how people learn, how they interact with their lives, how they're accountable to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So a tool can be setting a physical alarm and creating a routine. It can be reframing a word use. So instead of saying, what we were talking about it, but
Yeah.
thing, or like I have to do this or I get to do this, like that. In one client that I've been working with for 1 year, and we've come up with like all different tools for his toolkit. That was the one that created the most catalytic change for him.
Right.
I get to. It like changed everything. And I'm like,
Yeah.
just 3 letters like that just change everything. So when you're talking about like, I knew shit was going to go down and get real and I needed to like figure out my like sanity, that's a tool.
Yeah.
How you planted that.
Yeah. You're hipping me to the whole figurative, literal thing about that, about actually planting the plant to be able to witness that. And that was what it was for me. It was a witnessing. And out of that grew an entire body of artwork, which was really interesting. So transitioning to the social aspects of technology, we're going to go over a couple things here. And I'm happy for it to go wherever it goes.
It already is going where it's going. Can't stop it.
Where it goes, wherever it goes. When it comes to technology, and we're gonna talk about this both on the personal level and on the professional level in what you do as a psychospiritual coach. What I would like to know, and I'd like you to think about, is what do you think some of the effects of our relationships to our technology, how do those things affect us on a psycho-spiritual level? Now, I'm saying psycho-spiritual the same way that I might say in my energetic practice, I might say body, mind, right? Because the things cannot be separated. So when we're talking about a psycho-spiritual context here, our brain intelligence and our, for lack of a better word, body or heart intelligence cannot be separated. So what are your observations about how our relationship with technology is affecting our psycho-spiritual selves?
So
that's a big one, huh?
It's a big one. And my first inclination was to go to this negative side, like to speak to my personal feelings of it, because I have such friction with it. But then I was like, no, you know better here. It's how you make it. It's how you interact with it. Like There is no, we were talking about the duality in the car right over here. If you sit here and, pardon my language, like shit on social media, shit on technology, like then that's the experience that you're going to have with
Right.
it. So like you're calling it in. So when I was just like, oh man, we're screwed. Like what's happening? Like with, I was just like, I stopped myself. So I'm still doing the work that I do with others for myself. And I'm proud of that hard stop.
Yeah.
For the record, I'm proud of it. And let me back to this idea of just the intention. Like let me come back to the intention of this question and this answer. And we don't know. To be quite frank with you, AI is both scaring the shit out of me and fascinating me, and being like, there was this intelligence that we just tapped into. Like, I forget where, I hate when I can't really quote the source that it came from, so pardon me, but
No worries.
there was this question about, how we invented AI, but it's like, no, it just existed. We just figured out how to like match this ability to tap into it.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so it's always existed. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I actually really believe that it wouldn't exist unless it was supposed to exist, right? And where did I hear this? This was just it was on your podcast with the Jurassic Park quote.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I've just quoted his own podcast. We never, just because we could, we never stopped to think if we should.
Right.
Look at me. Look at me listening.
Oh my goodness, I'm so proud.
I mean, I really, when you guys said that, I was just like, whoa. Yeah. But I also, to take it a step further, because that really kind of struck me, like there is never any mistake.
Interesting.
I
buy that. I believe that fully.
And we just don't know the implication, because our lifespan, we're playing the short-term game here. I don't know. Like, obviously we're going to see, and the speed at which this thing is developing.
It's mind-boggling.
So like this conversation that we're going to have in a month, in a year, in 10 years, like I don't even know, but I know that it's supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I've even tapped into answering this question yet. But
no, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you, and I think they're with you. Yeah, and I think the whole thing about this is that the very first three words out of your mouth when you started to answer this question.
Yeah, what were they? Remind me, I forgot.
We don't know. God, I'm getting the chills, because that is a fact. Do you remember when the iPhone was released? The original iPhone, first generation.
Yes. I'm like, I just tried to like put myself directly into that moment. Like, but like I was late with texting and everything. So it was, but yes, I remember that. I didn't have one for a while, but.
It was 2007.
2007. Oh my God. That was like yesterday. And
we haven't even reached the 20-year mark yet.
Wow.
And smart technology, specifically mobile smart technology, your laptop, your iPhone, your iPad, handheld gaming systems, but specifically smartphones, changed the entire landscape. And actually, I think created our relationship with our technology. Now, I say relationship specifically, and you're going to hear me say this time and time again because I think it's important. I say relationship because for the first time in human history, we have emotional content in how we use that tool. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is evidenced by just hanging out with somebody, go to grab their phone without saying anything. You'll immediately see the emotional context. If you have a kid and you give your kid your phone for them to entertain themselves for a little while, right, without saying anything, go and take it from them. And you will immediately see what I'm talking about. This emotional level, this emotional investment in our technology that has never happened before in human history. You think back to the industrial age, you think back to the transition from horse and buggy to car. Nobody was losing their shit. You know what I mean? Like
that we know of.
That we know of. But, were people excited? Were people mad about things? Yes. But a personal relationship to that thing, I don't think we've ever had. When they sent a rocket to the moon, we were in awe, but we weren't emotionally tied to it the way we are to our mobile technology. So I think your answer is really great. because it directly reflects where we are societally in this journey, this technological journey. Because the answer is elusive. It's not, again, going back to we had this incredible conversation on the way here, and we talked about the difference between living life either or and.
Both end, yeah.
And we both agree very much that it's about the and of it. Things can coexist. So this confusion that we have, this feeling like we're standing on shifting sands, I think is exactly right, because I think that's where we are. In one of my favorite musicals, Into the Woods, Sondheim writes about how a character explains how she is both excited and scared. And I find that so poignant, because anything that is huge in life is that way.
I just spoke about this last night, that excitement and fear are made of the same energy.
I saw that post that you did. Yeah.
The rest of the thought, the continuation of it is that like one holds you back while one pushes you forward. But I see it as like either a dance or a seesaw, and you can kind of move on this continuum of them. And sheerly your awareness of, like, if it's like the same energy, just like your awareness is, you can modulate it. I mean, yeah, excitement is like the biggest indicator of like your intelligence.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you saw that other quote, right? That excitement is, fear is just excitement without the breath. Fitzpearls said that.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up, but yeah, this conversation that we were getting into about the and or the or, it's just so, it's like the and is such harmony, unity, and the or is so, it's just so divisive. It's just like these little words.
I think too that taking the either or route is more comfortable, in a way safer, because it's clearly defined. Taking the and route is not so clearly defined. It doesn't allow for this is good or bad. It allows for it depends. Like you said earlier, it depends how we use the tool. And before I go on, I'm gonna transition back to something that you were talking about earlier. You stopped yourself from your own personal viewpoint on your personal opinion on how you feel about these things. And I'm going to ask you a question that kind of narrows that a little bit. First, I really want to hear that. Okay. I really want to hear that perspective. Second, what do you feel is your own personal relationship to your technology? And how does that work for you, not work for you, drive you, stop you, whatever? So
as it relates to technology, I notice just how deep my level of negative self-talk goes. Because there's a part of me that just is like, my mission is just to like re-inject the human into wherever I can. Right. Human connection, interpersonal, also just like your connection into yourself, like human, it's like hard for me to even speak about it without just like feeling this visceral thing, like human, bringing the human back in. Having said that, technology is a gift. And when I say the negative self-talk, it's because we're surrounded by it right now. And like, when we were doing the pre-setup for this, I'm just like, God, this is just amazing what we're capable of. And this is like this, this setup here is
it's one tiny little room.
It's one tiny little thing. And it's like, in terms of technology, it's like the speck on the wall of it. But I am like, Ariella, you should know more. You're not tapping into its potential. Right. Like you don't, and I have a difficult relationship with it I'm the tech master when it comes to my mother and like the older generation. But as far as when something happens, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I just have this apathetic, like, I don't even really know how to describe it. I'm just like, okay, that's just like, I'm not going to know it. I like, there's this part of me that puts my head in the sand with it. Oh, yeah. And I speak negatively to myself about it. And again, it's just me being like, okay, hit pause. If you want to go deeper into something, if you want to understand it, you can, you can. And there's some resistance there, and there's some there's some information in the resistance. So that's my first inclination on how to answer that question, because I always answer like what comes to the surface for me first.
Yeah.
When I get on a subway car in New York, I live in New York, and I look around and I see everyone on their phones. And like, I'm the one, and I'm on my phone a lot too, trust
Right.
me. But I'm like
Right.
the one who, like, I'll smile, I'll try to strike something up, and people are just like it's jarring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it looks like to go so far down. Like, does it get corrected? I know a lot of people talk about this, and you even like stepping into the chrysalis at this point, like
Yeah.
what gets reborn or transformed rather. But I think it's just this gap between each other is just growing wider and wider.
Yeah. I talk about that all the time. We are so well connected, but we are often starving for connection.
That's it.
So the human element, it's a super interesting thing that eventually what happens as we get this gap that you're talking about, something that is created by a human, I think will become more precious, more valuable. Something that human hands or that a human mind forms, like the difference between the music that you listen to on CD or on MP3 or streaming versus listening to an LP. Two completely different experiences in sound, texture, volume, depth, breadth. There's something really beautiful about the digital version because it's perfect.
Yeah.
But the most beautiful thing about the analog version is that it has inclusions.
There's sound between the sound. There's a texture quality of the it's not non-existent.
Exactly. The pops and the hisses and what people would consider imperfections actually create the experience, the transitions, things in the transitions.
There we go. I love a full circle moment.
Right? I think a time is coming, and I don't think it's that far off, where things that are human made, my friend Maya calls it human intelligence, HI. I think that time is coming and coming soon, because now we're being flooded with stuff that is what people are calling slop, stuff that is not made by human hands or human minds.
It never touches a human hand or mind. There's just like this, it's hard to have life in it. Yeah. There's something, so sometimes like I think like I'll just get a visual. It's the way that like even in my session sometimes like I'll see like an image. It's I don't know how to describe it, but when you were talking about like this gap between the humans, like kind of like us getting further and further apart, I saw it as like, at what point do we reach this level where we can't close the gap by doing this, but like going around in a new way,
creating a bypass of some sort?
And that speaks to like me saying, I don't know what it looks like, because it's and like that's just where I am.
Yeah.
And I have trusts that, universe is kind of holding some greater plan. But like, that's what I don't know what it looks like. I think that this humanity, this gap is pulling apart because it's gonna come around and we just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah. Pendulums swing, man.
Yeah.
Pendulums swing. And they don't only swing in one direction. Right. It's a whole arc. And I think going back to the whole chrysalis idea, the caterpillar doesn't know what's on the other end. And we can't know. When you were talking about the speed that things are moving, the speed that things are moving is beyond our ability to process, because it is an intelligence that is beyond human intelligence. So when you look at practical things like how quickly new AI platforms are being built, new agents are being built, how quickly platforms are going from version 1 to version 3, like that. Gemini 3 was just released 3 days ago, and Gemini 1 only came out 2 months ago. And they are exponential differences between version 1 and version 3. And every day that you look, I follow these accounts on Instagram, for instance, that are specifically about AI. And every day I look and the titles of the posts are, "This has broken the internet," or "This has broken the internet. This has changed everything." And that's every single day. Something is breaking the internet or changing everything, creating a sea change, right? And that's big language for us to process every freaking day.
How does that make you feel?
Excited and scared. Like I'm meeting the big bad wolf.
It's like,
excited and scared.
You know, like you can't keep up, right? It's like as soon as you've like, okay, I've read that. It's this feeling of being in this.
Yeah, it's a hamster wheel.
Exactly. This hedonic treadmill. Well, that's actually a term, but it's just, it makes, and that's where this negative, like throw my hands up and be like, well, I can't keep up, so I might as well not.
That's an interesting thing. I'm glad you came back to that, because I decided that I wanted to learn AI. I wanted to learn it at its foundations, like I learned to make photographs, like I learned karate. You have to start with stances.
Say karate again.
Karate. Stances and blocks and steps, baby steps. So I wanted to learn about AI because in my trade of photography, people were asking me, oh my goodness, are you afraid of AI? Oh my goodness, what's going to happen to what you do? And, people are going to start boxing out photographers and blah, blah. So I thought to myself, okay, well, how do I get intentional about this and not just succumb to the fear? It's not that the fear isn't there, but how do I? So learn it, embrace it, figure out how it works, and how you can either decide not to use it or how to fold it into the services that you provide to your clients. So I started this journey over the beginning of the summer, to learn. And it's really fucking hard to keep up because there's a new something to learn almost hourly, because as I described, these systems are coming out so fast that now I have to not unlearn this, but I have to now shift my ability to learn more quickly than I feel like it's possible. So it becomes super rough to be able to do that and not get frozen. So now at this very moment today, I feel kind of stuck, because how do I keep up with that? If I pay for this platform and I start learning that thing, and then 7 other platforms are released a week later, and they're very key to me learning how to do things, how do you do that? How do you then transition from learning that one thing to learning these other 7? Because I don't want to just start using. I'm making if you're not watching, I'm making the mainlining gesture here. How do you just not start using something so that you don't end up using something without any understanding of it?
The only place my mind was going when you were talking, not the only, it was going a lot of places, but just like this concept of time with it. It's like,
it's warped.
So much. We just need to slow down in so many respects. We just want to accelerate, but it's feeding itself. And I understand, it's not like we can't collectively decide to let's slow down. But that's just where the I don't know comes in for me.
What's interesting is the pandemic did that.
Yeah.
Because I remember at that time, especially within my personal circles, within my professional circles, everybody was saying, oh my goodness, I know I need to slow down, but I can't take time to myself. We can't stop this train. And that was the message that we were hearing globally at the time too. We have to keep advancing. We have to keep pushing forward. I have to keep pushing it. I have to keep going. And Mother Nature herself said,
I remember all those articles that were coming out around what was happening.
Yeah. And Mother Nature said, hold my purse.
Oh, wow. That's so good.
And she stopped it all on a dime. From one week to the next, we had to stop. So much so that there were animals that we didn't see in cities walking through city streets.
Those are the articles that I'm talking about. Yeah. The dolphins in the Venice Canal or something like that. I don't know. There were some other ones that came in.
Yeah. She said, you know what? Yeah, you can stop.
Hold my purse. So good. I've never heard that before. It's so good.
Yeah. She said, yes, you can. And that's, I think that's true when, and I think it goes back to this psychospiritual thing, is we have such issues with the quiet.
Yeah, it's like, so where in your life can you hit the pause button? And it doesn't have to be pause, but the like 5x, you know?
Yeah.
Like even on WhatsApp when I'm listening to messages, I'm like 1.5, 2.2x. Like, okay, that's great. Like, and I'm like listening to my friend and she's like, I'm like, what are you doing, Ariella? You can take the extra 2 minutes. It's like there's some part of me that feels like I have to just digest it really quickly. And, but okay, we know areas in our life where we can't. We can't slow it down because for whatever we need to keep up with at that point,
Right.
whether it's in the career or we need to keep up with that. But where can you balance it? Where can you slow down? Because the intelligence, the HI, as you say, like it comes only in the moment of pause. It comes only in the moment of slowing it down.
In the quiet.
It only comes in the quiet. It only does.
Yeah. Some of the greatest ideas, concepts, inventions ever in the history of humanity have come when people were bored, when they were sitting deeply in the quiet.
Yeah.
And we have such a hard time with that. So let's build a toolkit.
We need to bring it back. Love it.
Let's build a toolkit, because I don't like presenting issues or problems without potential solution. Let's build a toolkit. We want to give people an opportunity, a hack, as it were, to learning to embrace the quiet, learning to slow down. What would be on that list for you?
Ooh.
Ooh, I know. I know. I know.
A toolkit of embracing the quiet.
Yeah, a toolkit for embracing the quiet. How would one, as you say, slow down? How would one find space and room in their life to slow down? Somebody who would come to you and say, I can't slow down, I got to keep it pushing. I know I'm stressed as fuck, but I got to keep it pushing. I don't care how, I'm going to keep going until I fall down. If somebody came to you with that, how would you build their toolkit?
So for that person, my first question would be, what is your relationship with stillness? What is your relationship with quiet? Like, because in order to understand the tool, we have to see what it is that we're fixing. I don't like
Right.
that word fixing, but you know, what it is that we're working with, because there could be it's not just prescriptive, like it's not the same, but
It
it's
depends.
like totally depends. Like
I'm taking the role now of the person that
yeah.
we're talking about. So my relationship with quiet is I just don't like it. I'm uncomfortable if I'm still, if I'm quiet. I'm jittery. I can't deal with it.
So tell me about that discomfort. What does it feel like? What arises in that?
I just feel uncomfortable. I feel like I'm like gonna pop. I feel like I'm from the inside. I feel like I'm just like I have a million ants inside me and they need to come out. So being still is super uncomfortable for me.
So I just want to reflect back to you this word pop. Like I feel like I'm going to pop. And then in the same sentence, you said, I need to let them out. So it's like there's an intelligence in that. I need to pop. I need to let them out. I'm going to pop. I don't want to. So for me already, I'm like, ooh, there's something here. Like, let's pop. Like, what's the pop? What's the pop?
like the whole thing is, are you saying that the whole thing is about me wanting to not pop and control, like a control thing?
Yeah. Or like, it's like, to go back to the chrysalis, like, what is the pop? You don't know what is on the other side of the pop. Like, and I think, okay, we're going down this line of like using this word, but people are afraid of the pop, like this sense of purging, right? Of releasing, releasing something.
That is the word, release.
So these ants that are in you, like you know that they need to get out, but you're afraid of it and you want to control it, but it's because you haven't opened that just probably there's wings on the other side. Like if you get rid of those ants, like there's spaciousness and your relationship with the quiet can start to take form. So it's like we're in this specific example that we're following here. It's like tell me about the pop. What is it? Like, speak to me about it. Like, what are those ants feel like? Like, what is present for you when you're sitting with them? And what's that discomfort? And I mean, in all senses of the word, physically, emotionally, mentally, what are the thoughts that are coming to you with them? Like, for anyone not watching, like, I'm actually having like a somatic experience. Like, I'm feeling the ants.
I feel the ants too. I'm
feeling them. And I want so badly for whoever this person is to like, just to be okay with that moment of discomfort. And the pop doesn't have to be this like, oh, he went crazy.
Terrible
He lost
thing.
his shit.
Right.
There's shit all over the walls.
Yeah.
There's ants all over the walls. That's what we're afraid of this pop. It could just be like like some ecstatic release of like just letting it go.
Yeah.
Like we make it so hard. We make it so hard. I mean,
ecstatic.
Yeah.
It could be
ecstatic.
that. It could be that. It could be scary and ecstatic.
So I would explore the pop and give permission to the pop, because some people just need permission.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. What are you afraid about of the pop? Like, what is that? And how many times can we say pop? Like, what's the word count on this word? But like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Let it rip, pop. And like, I've had this in a session where like, there's been a purge of like tears or laughter of just like how ridiculous it is. Like even the reflection of like, you just held in the same sentence that you need to pop and something needs to come out, but you don't want it to, and you can't sit with the silence, like the humor in it. The humor.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the pop. I don't know. But that's why it's so different for so many people. But in order to make space for the quiet, like, and to become comfortable with its mere existence, you have to become aware of what's in the way of it.
And the exercise of actually working at it, of going into the quiet, is the only way to find out.
Yeah.
There's only one way to find out. You have to actually try. You have to explore that space for yourself. And I've had friends, clients in my energy work too, talk about these sorts of things with that sense of, I don't want to happen. I'm so scared. I don't want that to happen. But the only way past is through.
Yeah. That you can go around.
But then you haven't done the work and the pain gets
but then there's,
more.
Yeah. And in sessions sometimes, like I'll see like, okay, we can't access this now. We can go through so that they can see, because there can be a bunch of different pathways around it. I mean, the most direct way is through, right? But maybe sometimes people need to circumvent and kind of like get a
peek, a bird's eye view
there and be like, oh, okay. And then like, then you can access it again because it's not as scary. Do you know what I mean? It's like
accessing from a different direction.
Totally.
Right. Than the scariest path.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I was just gonna say something. I lost it.
I'm sorry.
Damn
I
it.
may have broken your train of thought.
You didn't. I mean, it's just like I'm holding, speaking of all the pathways, like there's so many things that like, there's so many ways that you can go.
So let's go to, I love that role play thing, by the way, because it just awakened a whole bunch of stuff. So I could have done that for an hour. Let's go to a practical, because most people want the practical A plus B equals C. If somebody was in a place where they were like, I'm on my phone too much, I can't stand it, but I can't stop, but I don't understand what it's doing to me. What do I do? Sort of practical toolkit points for quieting the din of my relationship with my technology.
Yeah. So it's interesting because like, so you can, I've had this so many times with clients that are like, they've deleted apps and then they've found themselves like re-downloading it. Right. Or we had one of my clients, she started just placing her phone outside of her room, like to charge. And that made a big difference. But again, and I hope that this doesn't sound like I'm taking this, like instead of just giving a tool, it's always to go one level deeper, like to answer the question one level deeper.
Right.
One level deeper. It's like to think about your personal relationship with your phone. And when you hold it Like, what are you feeling and where are you going? And what are the points that you're, like to do what you did before, like the hit, like to get this and to simply AAA it first, a triple A. Like, I am aware that I am doing XYZ, that every time I start to think about my ex, like I go to this app, like, so awareness, you bring awareness to it. First step.
Right.
Second A, like acknowledge. Okay. Like you're not fighting it. Like you're not saying like, well, like I throw my hands up, like it's you acknowledge it. Like, and then the third A is to like accept it and not try to change it. Because once you start to impose a belief system on it, or I'm looking for like this judgment on it. Like it starts to take a whole other form, and it's simply to recognize it as in the state that it is. So we triple A it, and that's enough of the first step, because there's so much like where you're just moving through it without this awareness, without acknowledging it, and without accepting it.
Taken away by the digital tsunami.
You're so good. Just like erratic, right? Like
yeah.
So the first steps are always just to like bring that, like what I'm talking about, like bring your HI into it, bring your emotional intelligence into it. And because once you start to have this like judgment and then you layer your emotional, kind of blanket on top of it, it is just charged from all these different directions and like screw it, like you're so deep. So it's removing this one step at a time. And that's the beautiful simplicity of all of these tools. It's like, so first let's just bring that awareness into it. I mean, there are like trackers where, some people like set alarms, right? Or they set this time limit. Have you ever used, you don't impress me as somebody who needs to put like a time limit on their phone.
No, I don't put a time limit on my phone, but every night at 9:00, because I'm a night owl and I usually stay up pretty late, at 9:00 an alarm goes off that tells me to put my phone away.
And how good are you at putting away?
Not very good. Not as good as I would like to be, but I am aware of that.
So let's take this right now.
Let's do it.
So you're aware. You have that set. Is there a part of you when, like, what does the part of you feel when you get that alarm? How do you feel when that alarm rings?
Relieved, actually.
Speak more about
when the alarm goes off. I feel relieved because I spend my days immersed in my technology because of my personal use of it, but my professional use of it. I'm on sometimes 3 different phones, my laptop at the same time, my camera, right? I love technology. I don't ever want anybody to think that I'm anti-technology. I love technology. But when that alarm rings, it gives me permission to stop.
So where is the gap? Where is the chasm between feeling relief of stopping and then not doing it? Because you said that you don't do it.
Impulse.
Talk about that space.
Impulse. Impulse is that space.
What's the emotion in the impulse?
The emotion in the impulse. That's a very good question. Lack? I can't tie it to an emotion. It's very hard to tie it to a specific emotion.
Because to go back to our beginning, when we're talking about transition periods and bringing consciousness into
the transition.
I love how we're back here, by the way.
That is the transition.
It's like you're conscious in this step here. A, phone rings, I'm feeling relief. And then B, on the other side, like, I know I'm using it too much, and we haven't talked about how you feel there, but like, what is happening in the middle? Because there's some nuggets in here.
Yeah. I can tell you, as I think about it, sometimes what I'm thinking, which I guess translates directly to what I'm feeling, is, well, why should I have to do that?
I knew it.
Indignance, I guess I would call it. Indignance, resistance. Sometimes I would think that it would be like, I'm a grown fucking man. What's happening? What? I should be able to do whatever I want. It might be that.
Yes. Tale as old as I've had. I've had this with so many people where like that self is looking back at their point A self and being like, fuck you, I do what I want.
What?
I don't want to listen. I don't want that alarm.
Yeah.
It's like this resistor there that's just like looking for the ground to play in.
Yeah. Yeah. If I were to, it's my teenage self, right? If I were to personify it, it's my teenage self. That teenage self is very prominent in who I am as a man. Is I can do whatever the fuck I want. Like what? I'm not very good with authority, right? I'm not, I'm an artist.
Even when the authority is yourself.
Even when I'm the authority, right? So, and then beyond that, the next step, you said A, the transition between A and B is guilt. Is, well, I know that this is not good for me going into my sleep cycle, so I should stop. And then impulse takes over, and sort of going back to this thing, right? The addiction of this relationship, right? The codependence of this relationship is very, very real. App developers, tech company owners, even against the way they necessarily live personally, their motivation is to keep me in there as long as possible.
And the house always wins.
And the house always wins. The house always wins. We talked about that in a previous episode as well. The correlation to those impulses to gambling, to the casino. The casino is a physical place, and the reason it exists is for you to stay in there as long as it takes for you to lose your money. And if somebody is motivated enough to keep you someplace long enough to lose your money, you will lose your money. So if attention is the motivation for these app developers, for these tech companies, is to hold our attention in these digital spaces for as long as possible, the commodity is our attention. And we will pay attention. We will pay that attention. And then, we start to, I was reading an article just today about what that payment looks like. What that currency is, what we end up with in the end. And it's not a good deal. It's not a good deal because we end up with cognitive issues. We end up with attention deficiencies. We end up with being practiced at something and unpracticed at something else.
Yeah.
If I'm practiced at scrolling on my phone and watching short form videos hour after hour after hour to satiate my desire to not be bored or whatever, then I am unpracticed at being quiet. I'm unpracticed at embracing boredom. I am unpracticed at a whole myriad of other things that benefit me, benefit my cognitive abilities. And these things create a deficit in my cognitive abilities. And I know it.
You're aware of it.
And I know it. And we know it. We know it, but we do it anyway.
So like to go back to that A, the transition, and the B, something that was coming to me because you beautifully identified that there's another part of you that's in the transition. And this goes into some like IFS stuff. I don't know if you know IFS, internal family systems, where it's like that you are comprised of, there's many parts of you.
Right.
And, we could go more into that in terms of how these parts are formed and the protectors of them and in terms of, how they get formed and where trauma lives in them and everything. But to simply strip it down to its bare bones, it's like even just recognizing that another part of you lives in the transition, because otherwise you're fighting something that you believe is one fluid storyline with like one person who's just this like having this inability to bridge this gap. Like I'm A, B. But the second that you are labeling yourself as the resistor in the center, this like the teenage boy that, had trouble with authority or whatever, as soon as you shed light on him, he's like,
yeah,
he's seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like a deer in headlights. Like, I can no longer lurk in the shadows. I'm exposed to the light.
Yeah.
And it's just like I hate when you're like, let's make tools. And I'm like, well, help me. Like, give me an example because they're so different. But like, and I just want to give you that one tool. I'm telling you that turning on a light on whatever it is is the it cannot cease. It cannot exist. It has to perform in the light, and there's a whole different thing. So now, next time you do it, I guarantee, and you got to call me, like when you're in the transition period from the alarm rings, because you said, I've never thought about the emotion tied to that, and I've never identified. Now you have a part of you, and you might even have a vision for what he looks like.
Oh, I see him.
Yeah.
I see him.
And like, so he's there now. Like, you have just brought a level of awareness to it. So next time your alarm rings at 9, you are going to laugh because he's going to take the stage. The alarm brings him on, and it shuts off. Like you just said, the skill needs to come online or offline. Not skill, but like, so the second that you go stage left, he comes stage right. And like, just knowing it, you're gonna get a chance to play with him.
Yeah.
So like, maybe you'll be like, okay, I know you're there. You can still have this one. But the more that the more that you bring that awareness, the more that you bring that acceptance, that acknowledgement, like you can have agency.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I was talking about, a sort of bullet point list, but your AAA is the toolkit. That's the box that you put all the tools in. Right.
Can I tell you one more tool that I love?
Yeah, sure.
Not specifically for this, but actually, yes, no, you can. So I've studied something called possibility management, and they have, so it's so belabored. It's amazing how many concepts, they've created a whole lexicon. They call it the distinctionary. It's all of these words, terms, phrases, concepts that are distinctions that you make. And I could go down a lot of, but the more distinctions you have, the more matrix that you build, and then the more consciousness you can hold. And anyway, there's this one tool on the tool belt of the 13 tools, and it's called the Voice Blaster. And I've been
cool.
playing with it recently, and this goes back to when you asked me this initially about technology, and I was like, this negative self-talk that I have of like, you don't know. I literally sometimes like take it out and go, boom, because it's like I have this awareness of this voice. I'm like, that's not my voice.
Yeah.
And I literally blow it out and it goes quiet.
How interesting.
There's so many.
There's
the sword of clarity, the disc of nothingness. Like, there's some really cool ones.
I need to know about this. I need to know about this. Yeah, for sure. The image that came into my mind, my teenager, and I see in my old house, and he's my like 16-year-old self, and he's walking up, because they're right outside of my bedroom door was the stairs to go down to the first floor of our house. So I'm standing in the hallway looking toward my bedroom door, and I'm seeing him walk up the stairs in a hoodie, holding a bowl of cereal, walking into the room and closing the door as he says, "Fuck you, I can do what I want."
That's how real he is.
That's where he is. That's where he is. And when you talk about this voice blaster, I see myself in that hallway looking at the door. He's closed the door. I take out my voice blaster. I shoot through the door, and he bursts into flowers.
Oh my God. Do you understand? Like, as a coach, I'm having like the biggest, like, fuck yes moment. Like, that's how, like, if you bring the more that you can see and feel, and it just immediately came to you. It's because that's how real it is.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
So that's when you AAA it, you bring it there, and I guarantee you're going to start, but it comes back to your milk thistle. It's a seed.
Yeah.
You have to wait for that shit to grow, and you have to wait for the butterfly to come and go through. It's like, but you have planted the milk thistle.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's so cool. And then I would tack on an A, delayed. I think, based on what you're saying, that fourth A would be delayed, and it would be incremental. That fourth A is action.
It's perfect.
So I've done the work of the first 3 A's. Become aware, I've acknowledged, I've accepted. Acceptance is a very, very difficult concept. We have a really hard time with judgment, especially self-judgment. So acceptance is a really, really hard one for most people. Then after I've done those 3 A's, where I see myself walking in that journey, is incrementally taking action, so that the first action might simply be catching myself. After the alarm rings, after the teenager is blasted into flowers, the action might be, I'm reaching for my phone, and I simply acknowledge the fact you've gone through those other steps and you're reaching for the phone. Pay attention to that.
And like, so I'm putting my hand like, and you can make that decision. You can say, you can ask yourself, what part of me is making this decision? Because if it's your A and like you actually want to spend some more time on your phone doing something, and this is a conscious
Correct.
action.
Correct.
Because it seems like when your teenager comes in, it is unconscious.
Yes.
Until this moment, because now you know that he's showing up. So you can ask, am I consciously showing up for this decision, and I can make an adult responsible choice, a responsible choice on this? Or is he just unconsciously coming up to do what he wants to complete in this cycle of uncompleted stuff from that time?
Right.
Or act out or whatever it is.
Raging against the machine.
But that's an important step.
Yeah.
Because that's the agency. And it's not just like, okay, I have to, no, every time that rings, I got to put it down. No. You get to make your decision.
You get to choose.
And that's what's being another A. That's about being adult.
Right.
Adult responsibility.
Yeah.
And that is, I want to add one more A. I want to add one more. We've got like,
stacking up A's, baby.
Okay.
We're stacking up A's.
In between accept and action, there's the A of agree, because this comes from some Kabbalistic teachings, specifically this guy David Guillaume that I've listened to. So I'm like, my whole toolkit is spaghetti. I got everything in there. But there is a difference between accepting and agreeing, because it's like whatever your belief system is. Okay, universe. Okay, God. Okay, whatever. I accept. There's almost this, like when you hear the word accept, what's the texture of that word for you? What's the, like, what comes up for you when you hear I accept?
I accept, for me, the main thing that comes up is non-judgment. Is this thing is, and it is. I don't judge it good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever. And we talk about that. And I think of it often in the context of human beings, the difference between tolerance and acceptance.
Perfect. Stay there, because I want you to keep that in mind.
Okay.
And answer the question now for the word agree.
Agree is, in this context, I think, in that sequence of accept and agree, is choosing. Is now, whatever happens after this, I've chosen it, and I've chosen it deliberately. Mm-hmm. For myself, without sort of the muddiness of influence from outside.
Yes.
That makes sense?
It makes total sense. And for me, it's like a step forward, because it's not passive. Like when you say I accept, you said that there's non-judgment. But when you agree, you're like, I know this is happening for me.
Right.
Like in this step, like I may not understand now, but I know that it's important and I know that it's good. So it's like, it's taking a more, and then it leads to an action, because you've now charged it in this way of knowing that, I don't know if this is speaking to you, but it's like, instead of just being like, okay, I don't know, I accept. Mm-hmm. Because some people may accept a term that they don't like just to close the deal. Like, I accept. I agree is signing, like, I agreed to this transaction.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, because when you're saying that, I think oftentimes people say I accept when they mean they tolerate.
Yes.
I'm going to put up with whatever this is.
Yes.
Right? Which for me is not the true meaning of accept. I accept means almost a similar word as I embrace, right? It's cool. Mm-hmm. We're good. I'm good. A lot of times people say I accept when they're not good. Mm. Yeah. Like when it's a whatever moment. Whatever doesn't mean that you understand, that you've processed, that you've accepted something. It means that you're actually kind of trying to step around it and not deal with whatever that thing happens to be, which is hard. It's hard to accept things, because oftentimes you have to accept things you do not agree with. Mm. But that gives That's giving somebody else or some situation the grace of being what it is.
Amen.
Right?
To add another A.
So moving back to the action part is the incremental bit is in replacing the learning of what existed before, right? If I go and try to rip it out by the root, most of the time root remains and it regrows. If I plant another seed underneath it, the other seed will push that information out in a way that is organic, in a way that is, in a lot of times, that should be gentle and not so violent. Because oftentimes when we take action without the other A's, when somebody
Reactive.
when somebody says to you, oh, you should just do this.
Where's the intention behind it?
Right. But where's the, oh, I see it. Like you said, you shed light on it. You create awareness of it. I see it for exactly what it is. I've examined what that is. So now I can actually do something about it if I so choose.
That's it.
Right? You know, in the context of our lives with our families, the thought that just came to me is, you know, we often think, oh, I don't want to be anything like my dad, or I don't want to be anything like my mom, or whatever. But if we don't do the acceptance part, we will always be like them. And the acceptance part is accepting them for who they are, what they are, that they're just another human being on this rock trying to get along.
They're just doing their best.
They're just doing their best. And the acceptance and awareness that I have traits that are just like them, and that I often act in those same ways. If I don't like it, I have to take the steps that you're talking about now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing has been so eye-opening. It's been so about all of life, which is what I think In Pursuit of Signal is. Signal is connection. It is our ability to connect with each other as human beings. It's our ability to connect with ourselves. I think that is the part that is in jeopardy now, is people are thinking only about the connection between other human beings and not really realizing that we are in desperate need of connecting with ourselves. Does that resonate in some way? Does that make sense to you?
Like, so much so that several times you've said things and I've just had to take a breath into it. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost just like this breathing life into that statement. Yeah. And I feel there was just a flicker of emotion for people who don't know how.
Right.
And that the steps are actually super simple. Even just when you said let's come up with a tool, and I'm well, let's workshop this, and it came to light, and I'm so curious how how this is going to evolve with you.
Yeah.
And I said 3 A's, and then you made your own tool. You added an A that's probably going to be the most meaningful one for you, because you came up with it and it spoke to your life. And you don't need, of course, that's what I do. I help people. I create the space to do that. But you can do this for yourself. You just have to start and try.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that goes back to it's scary. It's scary. It's scary for a lot of people to surrender to examining their own lives and taking responsibility for the way things go and choosing deliberately. Whole reason I'm into this whole thing, the whole reason I'm passionate about talking to people about the social impacts of technology, is because I feel like it's impacting our ability to choose deliberately. And if you don't know there's an issue, if you're unaware, if there's no light on that issue for you, but you still feel the negative effects of it, and this is not helping me, this is hurting me, where do we find that first step? How do we find that first step? How do we switch on that first light? Yeah. And that's the intention behind doing this for me, is how do we guide people to choose on purpose, to be present on purpose, to embrace quiet on purpose? Because we've seen what it's like when we don't choose it. Not that long ago, we saw what it's like, that it's imposed upon us by whatever you believe it to be. God, the universe, Mother Nature, hold my purse. because in the grand scheme of things, we're not that big,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And while we exist through her, she doesn't really give a shit about us in the day-to-day of the grandeur of the universe,
Hmm.
you know? And it's both things. It's and we're huge and we're
And.
tiny. There's a whole universe in our brain, and our brain can be held in your hand.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
Really? You're going to do that to me?
I am.
Final thoughts? Oh my God. Ugh, final thoughts.
Oh, it'll go on. It'll go on.
I
And I'll
can't.
probably have you on the show again, by
I
the way.
can't because there's just so much. And I guess the thing that is, for me, it's all about simplicity and levity and joy and finding the humor in everything. I'm in the self-help transformation consciousness space, which is a huge topic. It's just so big and it's serious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's serious. It's a serious space over here. And what keeps me connected to it and tethered to it is living through it in my expression of it. And it's to be silly with it, and it's to not take it so seriously. And it's literally the message that I like in my client sessions. It's how can we laugh?
Yeah.
Because we have to hold space for both. And so that's my mission really, is to inject that into it. It doesn't have to be as hard as you think it has to be. And I think people feel like they don't want to open, the healing journey because of what they think it is, but
The ants.
But let's pop it. It's not ants, you guys. It's actually confetti. Woo! There's clowns and it's unicorns and rainbows and fun.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. Like,
No, I get you. I get that. I get that, and I love that. I love that because it's true. It's hard work, but it ain't hard all the time.
And to go back to what I said, like when you asked me that one question, it's what you make it. It's what you make it. You decide if you want it to be ants that come out of there, sure. You want it to be like sparkly rainbow confetti, sure.
Yeah.
You like it.
Yeah.
The power of that. I mean, and I've learned it the hard way of like, God, why am I making this so hard for myself? Like, okay, I'm just going to choose this doorway instead. It's simple. It's simple once you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So it has been such a pleasure having you.
So much fun.
It has been such a pleasure having you. I it's difficult to express.
Yeah. And I think, just to like, even just in our eye contact in this conversation, like seeing this like spark in your eye, and like you've said some things that I don't know if you've seen, like how, well, I've told you that like the texture of your voice and how you speak and what you say. But like, it's just to connect this, to get speaking of this, like, analogy of like pulling apart, to come one step closer, to sit on the same side of the table, to really see your eyes sparkle. It's just, I love this. This is
thank you so much.
Most
That's
fun.
Really sweet. Thank you. And this conversation confirms for me this kindred feeling that I got from the moment we met.
Yeah.
We met at a networking event, and we actually were the first two people to show up to that networking event. So we actually connected a little bit before the meeting started, and there was this immediate thing. And, I hope that the years go on and we remain friends.
You're going to keep on adding tools. We're going to talk about our tools.
We're going to talk.
Great.
And it's funny you say that about the A's too, because I'm going to find it. I have to find it. I have a journal, not a journal, actually. It's a work journal of ideas and concepts, and it goes back to my teaching work, and there are 5 A's. I'm going to go find that book, and I'm going to take a picture of it so you can see.
Can't wait.
And I think they correlate. I think the A's correlate.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you. And I want to thank you for joining me in Pursuit of Signal. Again, my name is Jose Angel Castro. I am the facilitator of this forum, this circle, and I am glad that you've been here with us, and I hope you come back. You can find us on Substack, In Pursuit of Signal. You can watch this podcast on YouTube, same title. You can listen to this podcast on major streaming services like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So thank you so much for joining us. Come back again soon. I will be writing more things on Substack, adding more subscribers, adding more benefits for subscribers. So thank you so much. Talk to you soon. Thank you.